when stars are in light, the weaver, we would know.
Hello, everyone. It's here. We're finally here. We're going to talk about sales enablement. I promise we're going to jump in. It's going to be a great conversation. The amount of emails and text messages that I have received just for this episode on sales enablement is incredible. It seems like there is a really big appetite. We are going to jump in. If you're watching live, here's the question of the day. We always like to have a question. Normally it's where are you or what's the weather? I got one. We are, at the time of this broadcast, we are days away from starting daylight savings time, which means we're going to spring forward early Sunday morning or late Saturday night, depending on your point of view. I want to know, if you're watching live, do you like spring forward or fall backward? Which is your favorite? I'll tell you, I am a spring forward type person. I would rather have it be lighter later all day, all year. So if anyone really important is watching this and has any clout, if you could make the state of Texas always in daylight savings time, I would love that. So please let us know where you weigh in on this very controversial topic.
Does anybody prefer fallback? I'd be very interested.
We're gonna find out. All right. Welcome to the Improving Sales Performance live cast. Like we've been doing for the past few weeks and this entire season, we are really focusing in on everything that is found in the media sales report. And I know thousands of people have already downloaded this, but if you haven't downloaded it, go check it out, because while we'll touch on a few things in this, it's really loaded with great information that you can use. And I think we'll be making an announcement in the upcoming weeks on when the next survey for the next media sales report will be coming out. But I believe it's going to be early summer, late spring is when we'll do the next one. So there's that. All right, let me do some introductions, and I'm going to go counterclockwise. So I'll start with Dani. Dani Buckley, who is the Vice President, General Manager of our LeadG2 division at the Center for Sales Strategy. And moving to her left, Isha Bell, who is a inbound marketing sales consultant at LeadG2. And then directly above Isha and to my left is Emily Hartzell, who is a senior inbound marketing consultant at LeadG2. We're excited to have all three of you on. It is on the topic of sales enablement. That's essentially what you all do at LeadG2. I mean, you work with sales departments at all sorts of businesses, but a lot of people that watch this are media are media clients. So all of you work with media clients as well, with lead generation and pulling prospects, regardless of how someone found the prospect, but pulling prospects through the sales process by giving sales teams resources. So let me start off with some facts, some data points from the media sales report, and then let me jump in and start asking you guys questions. And by the way, those of you watching, if you have questions that you want to make sure that I ask, feel free to post them in the comment, and we'll do our best to get there. And by the way, it looks like most people prefer spring forward for everyone that wants to.
Keeping count.
We got that all worked out. All right. So here's what we learned from the survey. Ready? 80% of salespeople think they have enough sales pieces of sales enablement to help them in all stages of the sales process. So 80% feel as though they have enough. However, only 15% are very satisfied with what they have. So 80% say, yeah, we have it, but only 15% say they're satisfied. Also, 85% of sales managers say they have enough sales collateral to help sellers to close a deal. And just over 25% of them are not satisfied with the level. So still, with sales managers, seems like sales managers say, yeah, and we got good stuff. Salespeople are saying, not so much. We don't really have good stuff. Over 53% of salespeople do not think that their company has a marketing plan to attract leads and establish thought leadership. And more than 2/3 of sales managers say that they do not have more than 2 case study videos. So 1/3 say they have more, 2/3 say they don't have more. All right, so let's jump into this. And Dani, we'll start with you. What is sales enablement exactly? And don't give me the marketer speak. I want just the way regular people talk, because I think sales enablement, like if it was a drinking game and every time you heard the word sales enablement, you had to drink, it'd be ugly. So what is sales enablement? Now you got to drink.
Got to drink.
Right.
So, I mean, the simplest way that I like to explain it, and you'll see this all over our LeadG2 website because we think it is the best way, is it's everything you do to help your sellers sell smarter and faster. That's the really broad way to explain it. And we've kind of narrowed it down to 4 buckets, which include the strategy behind that, which includes like your sales process, everything with that. The content that you have, those resources, the case studies, the calculators, the one sheets, all that stuff, the content, the technology, right? The CRM, the sales enablement tools, and then the training, right? The proper training for them to use all those things and everything else you have to help them sell smarter and faster.
Yeah, I think, I'm not certain, but I think when people hear sales enablement, they think technology. Right. Yeah. I think that's where that's their go-to, is they think it's technology. But even if you didn't have technology, you could still have sales enablement pieces. All right. So Isha, we'll go to you for this one. And then I want to hear from Emily and Dani both on this question. But share with everyone watching 2 or 3 examples of these sales enablement pieces, like not the technology piece, but what are some other, what is it?
Yeah. I'll start with like my favorite type of sales enablement piece, which is like anything video. This live is being recorded and it can be turned into a sales enablement piece. If there's a prospect that we have that doesn't understand what sales enablement is, we can send them this video and say, hey, we're breaking it down here. Check this out. That's something that we're giving it legs. Another example, are educational videos too. Like you can do 2-minute videos. I mean, we are all on the same playing field when it comes to making video on social media. You can jump on your live, record it, or do 2-minute videos from your phone or whatever, and make that a part of a series. And that can be like a whole sales enablement package for a particular theme or whatever. But those are my favorite types, are videos that you can turn into content.
So anything video, and you're right, something like this could be used as a piece of sales enablement in a sales process down the road.
Yeah.
Right? Like if we had a prospect that wanted to know all about sales enablement, we'd probably send them a link to this video and say, hey, check out this conversation that we had about sales enablement.
Yeah, and there's a reason to follow up. Like, okay, what are your questions from this video? And then there's a reason to reach back out to this person.
On one of our previous shows, we were talking about the sales process, and I don't remember who it was, but I think it was Delina, and I think she's actually written a blog article on this, but about not ever sending again the email that says, hi, just checking in, right? This solves that. All right, Emily, give us some examples.
Yeah, so I love that video topic and that using that as a sales enablement piece. I think just to add to that, case studies are a really big one. And I think that they can be created, not only written, but video as well. I know coming from a sales background, all I wanted in the whole world was a case study that fit the perfect prospect that I was talking to, whether it was their industry or what marketing service I was trying to sell them. And if I had, as a seller, more case studies to use, I think I would have been better off. And having those case studies are kind of a heavy lift, but once they're done and they're created, they're so valuable. So I'll say case studies, written, video, any kind of case study you can get in all different categories. So anything that you guys offer, I would recommend a case study there. And then second of all, having a blog. Blogging regularly, having your salespeople be able to use those blog posts to then send to their prospects, use as a VBR in an email, shoot over a quick blog that answers a question or an objection they have in the sales process. That's such an easy way rather than them typing out a long email and sending it over and over again. I used to have templates saved on my computer of the exact same answer to the question. I would just tweak it slightly because you get the same thing over and over again. You should have a blog written about it and then have that on your website. So it not only serves as sales enablement, but a way for people to find your business and use that content. So I'll add those two there.
Yeah, case studies are, I mean, every salesperson at every organization, everywhere, for as long as I can remember, including when I sold, wants more case studies. Give me more case studies. Give me, and you know, I've talked to business leaders before. I've talked to general managers and directors of sales that run sales organizations, and I'd say, you know what, do you want us to help you build your case studies? And I always got the same response of, no, we can do that on our own. And I said, okay, well,
where are they?
Where are these studies?
Of course you can do it on your own. You know the story. It's not that you can't, it's that for whatever reason, I think it's hard to do a case study on yourself, and where it's for you. It's much easier to hire someone to do it for you for some reason. I don't know. Dani, what else would you add to that?
Yeah, so we're touching a lot of the great types of content, right? And and so thinking of even resources where I kind of think this overlaps with the content and the strategy. I think of sales plays. It's a resource for your sellers, and this is essentially taking a very specific sales scenario that they encounter and building out the steps and the best practices for that. And sometimes that includes a video or a case study, but it also just includes the strategy and the best thinking and the timing. And I just think sales plays and sales playbooks are really the core of sales enablement in a lot of ways to drive all the other stuff. Yeah,
I mean, we could come up with a long list of different things. And by the way, that list is probably ever changing, right? And adding to it, because at the core, we're trying to give people, I mean, sales enablement is giving sellers things that will help them to sell smarter, sell faster, pull their prospects through the sales pipeline with a predictable cadence, so that you have a client set. Like I always think of I think having a PDF or an email ready to go that has a list of 3 or 4 references would be so smart, because you're talking to a client, they're like on the fence, they don't know exactly what they want to do. And you say, you know what, I work with lots of businesses. Would it be helpful if I sent you a list of references, people that you could email or reach out to? Now, if I have to go and find that list and I got to build it from scratch every single time, wouldn't it be easier just on some shared drive to have, here's a list of references, copy and paste, stick them in an email.
Yeah.
That's sales enablement. So on that subject, and Emily, we'll come to you on this one. Give me, well, we went this way first, now we're going this way back around, trying to keep it fair. Give me an example of how sales enablement could help a seller actually sell smarter and faster. Like put it into action for me.
Yeah, totally. So I actually pulled up a statistic that's in one of our LeadG2 resources that says sales reps spend an average of 30 hours a month searching and creating their own content, which just seems like a lot of wasted time to me. So putting this in action, I guess my thoughts are having resources that are created either by your company or working with an outsourced company like LeadG2 to actually put the pieces together. The legwork of actually creating the ebooks, creating the content, creating the blog strategy, creating the playbook, everything that goes into that, and then having it ready for salespeople to use at any moment. So they're not spending hours when they could be selling, searching for that perfect post that's not a competitor's post that they can use to explain this topic, or writing out a long email to send to someone, or creating a quick graphic on their own. They can actually spend time prospecting and selling. So I guess putting it into action, doing it, making it happen, having a strategy and putting it into place, because I think it's so easy to say, oh, we'll get to that, or, that's so important, but like not top priority because we need to be selling. And I think that once it's in place, it just saves everyone time on the back end. So I guess putting it in action, putting it higher on your priority list and actually doing it is.
Yeah, Isha, before you jump in, one of the things that we saw in here, but we've also seen it in several of our clients have done sophisticated calendar audits of where salespeople are actually spending their time. And this has been done during COVID and pre-COVID, and I mean, over several years. And one of the things that is plain to see is that salespeople spend a lot of time doing things not selling. Emily, to your point, they spend a lot of time. And some of those things will never, ever change. There's just part of the job is doing things that are not selling. But the more we can give time to salespeople to actually sell, the more productive that they'll be. That's common sense. Having these things ready, if we can reduce 30 hours to 15 hours to 20 hours, not get rid of it, but just reduce it. Think of multiply that by all your people, multiply that by all your markets. I mean, that's a lot of selling time to give back. Isha, give us a real use example.
I mean, I think, just piggybacking a little bit off of what Emily was talking about, like even just thinking about your website too, is like how it's organized. Like people, they're blogging. And it's like, okay, you're not just blogging just for the sake of blogging, but think about like what you're blogging about, how it's organized on the website. One of the things we are like super advocates here about are like tagging your blog post so that it is organized in the right way. You're not tagging random words, but you're really tagging to help the salesperson quickly find the content on the website that, if it's something, whatever the problem is, it should be tagged by that problem. All your blog posts should be tagged by that problem. So that's one of the things that I was thinking about when you were talking.
And again, that speaks to how can we give time back to people? How can we help them sell smarter? And like you could do that today. Like someone watching this today, they could go back through their stuff and just make sure that it's tagged correctly, whether that's internal documents in their SharePoint or public documents on a website. I love that. Dani.
Yeah, so I'm thinking I'm going a little bit towards even the technology piece here of real use example. Something I've done recently with a media client where their salespeople were targeting specific categories of business. And so building out kind of a plan from beginning to end of, okay, we're going to target, we have got this list of target accounts. We know who we're going after. We know we've got their information and everything. But what do we want to talk about? What do we need to, what are the steps we want to take? So building that sales play, right? The email templates, the scripts, the different cadence to that, and then creating the content to support it, right? So the videos, do we have a case study? Do we have a blog post? Are we answering the questions they are most likely to have, especially for those early outreach points? What's going to get them to actually engage in a really colder email or colder outreach? And so building all those pieces together, and then putting the technology piece in place. So for the clients we work with that use some sales enablement tools, like with HubSpot, we're able to actually automate a lot of this while still personalizing it per prospect, but it's got that one-to-one automation. So they're not even having to write every email. It's all laid in, and now they can go reach out to 100 HVAC companies. They've got this play to follow, and it's kind of like at a click of a button.
Yeah, one of my favorite things is that sequence that a salesperson can use that they can take the low tech, don't give up strategy that at CSS we've been talking about for years, 7 attempts over a short period of time, right? And they can put technology behind it. So I can literally just take a lead, put it in, and the automation starts with slight customization possible. And if they respond, I can jump in and I'm saving time. I'm increasing my professionalism, at the same time saving time. I get quality and speed both, and you don't often get quality and speed at the same time. So I want to give an example that I've seen, kind of the low tech, high tech. I don't remember the client, but it was a media client where we created, the inbound marketing consultant created a document, I believe it was a PDF, that said, if you hear this objection, here are the 3 blog articles that you should use when you respond. And if you find yourself in this situation, use this case study, use this capabilities deck, use this. And it took like all of the pieces and organized it based on the situation you might find yourself in.
Yeah.
It kind of takes what Isha's saying about like organizing the content.
Yeah, and that's what made me think of it.
Yeah. And Emily, you did that with a client where you actually made it into a website page that was password protected. So we've done like and also where it's like a clickable, where it can easily be updated. And that was really cool.
Yeah, I've done for a client, we called it a sales resource center, and it's password protected, and we actually have it by the different stages of the sales cycle. So we have like prospecting, initial proposal, and then we have blog posts and case studies that go with each that they could send during that specific stage. And some of it obviously will overlap, but some of it is very tailored, like especially in that decision phase. We have, why is this customer the one for you? So it makes it really easy for when sales is sending out those quick prospecting emails. Yeah, just that sales resource center is a great.
I'm thinking that the new definition of sales enablement just simply is sell smarter, sell faster. Like that's it. Like that is what sales enablement is. And by the way,
we need to trademark that.
I'm sure every salesperson that will watch this is just going to be shaking their head, like going, yeah. Help me sell more. Help me sell smarter and faster. I can do more at better quality. I'm in. So Dani, I've heard you mention, and this is for everyone can jump in, and we'll just kind of talk about this for a minute or so. Heard you mention sales plays, and I know there's sales playbooks out there. What is a sales playbook? Like, what is this thing?
Yeah, so think of, I guess, essentially, sports, right? The sales playbook, it's got all the sales plays, which we've kind of touched on, right? That's the specific sales scenarios, outlining the steps that someone should take, and including the resources, the email templates, things like that. So it's everything at their fingertips for a sales situation. But a sales playbook is really even beyond that. It's really should be that houses everything related to your sales strategy and your sales process, so that they're, again, simplifying to find things. Everything is in one place. Salespeople know, if I need need advice on how to overcome a certain objection, they can go to a chapter on that. If they're wanting to get some key kind of language to use when talking about a new service they sell, they can go to a chapter on that. If they want to look at competitive battle cards, for instance, of here's how we stack up against our competitors and what you need to know if you've got someone talking to you and the guy down the street, here's the thing. So lots of different chapters that address all the different needs that a salesperson has throughout, the entire sales process, really.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll just say it's also a great training tool. So it's for all salespeople to use. And then when you're actually onboarding and training a new salesperson, it's got everything you possibly need there in one place.
And it's ever evolving. So there's always new situations that come up that will require play. So that's a good thing too.
Yeah, and I think, and I'm curious, and Emily, you most recently, before coming to LeadG2, were in a couple of different sales organizations. So I'm curious, but I think every organization has sales plays. Just for the most part, they live inside the sales manager.
It's so true.
Right? It's like,
or you're like or in every situation, you're going to your manager or to a fellow salesperson, you're asking them for like what they used and if they've ever run into this objection. And it's just a lot of like, again, going back to that, 30 hours a month of finding and searching and creating. It's like you're spending your time searching for those answers. Whereas in a sales playbook, it's all right there. It's very easy just to pull up and find it in the chapter.
A lot of times when we think of sales plays, we think about overcoming objections or getting appointments. And I get that but what do you do when your contact, your main contact at the business that you're working with gets a significant promotion? What's the play you run then? I mean, is there a thing that you do? Or what about the onboarding of a new client after you sell someone? Is there a way that we do it at this place that I now work? Mm-hmm. How does that happen? I mean, those are all things that unless it's memorialized somehow, then it's different. And I remember being in sales and being frustrated actually because someone else would get to do something that I didn't know. And I'd go, hey, I didn't even know that was possible. And I think I didn't know we could do that. Oh yeah, that's what we always do.
Yeah, totally.
With not being able to, or it avoids winging stuff, right? So it's like, I remember I was in a situation years ago where we outsourced a business development firm or whatever, and they had no sales enablement pieces on them about us whatsoever. Now, I didn't know at that time that's what it was called, but I'm thinking, okay, how are you selling us to other people? And there's nothing that they can take home. Like there's no takeaways, there's no PDFs, it's just kind of like winging it and like, hey, this is what they do. And it's like, nobody's going to remember that in about 10 minutes. It's like, you need something for them to walk away with.
Yeah. So while we were on this, I got a text message and someone said, is having a proposal template sales enablement? What do you guys think?
I would think so.
I
definitely.
Yeah.
A really good one too, like one that has research and information and shares your positioning and why you're the right choice, like something that you can actually easily go through with a prospect and not have to spend a whole lot of time building, creating, changing.
That's key, Emily. It's not a PowerPoint template.
Yeah.
No,
there's a difference. That still involves someone to build the thing, right? Or just keep reusing this other kind of not so good one they used before. But yeah, it's all there. The actual proposal is built out and they're just changing what needs to be changed.
Yeah. That mindset
into it. So like if they're on the fence, like, I don't know if I should sign this or not. Like they're just right on that line. There's probably some articles that they might, that you can include into that proposal. Like, well, think about this. You can be creative and add that.
Yeah. Don't do that like smarter and faster thing. I mean, really like managers in general should just be thinking in their heads, like, can I make this faster? What can I do to just make this process faster and make my salespeople shine more? Like, what can I do for that? And that right there is sales enablement. So a really stellar proposal that has all the information there, and it's not something a salesperson still has to spend 30 minutes to an hour, filling in blanks and stuff, but it's all the research is there and ready to go. I mean, that's enablement.
I had a client call me last week and wanted to know if I could give him some recommendations on electronic digital signatures for proposals. And I said, well, what do you currently use? And he said, they don't use anything. I said, well, how do you get your proposals signed in a work from home environment? Because I know that's what you have. How are you doing it?
Scanning it.
We're having, the client has to print it, sign it, take a picture of it and scan it. I'm like, oh man.
That's a lot of barriers for a salesperson to get a sale.
And that's another way to say sell smarter and faster. If you want to think about the customer experience, is reduce friction in the sales process too, right? Make it easier for people to buy from you. Make it easier for them to get their questions answered. And it goes both ways. It's not just about us selling more, but it's about really helping them. I mean, that's what we're all here for, right?
And it turns out, I mean, I wouldn't even try to chance it well, they could be, stopping at this point. Really, if they sign the dotted line, kind of ask them, how was the sales process for you? Ask them questions to get insight so that you can, optimize your sales enablement, when you're dealing with the next prospect. Because, I mean, just like that is oh, I'm having a hard time signing this contract. If you don't ask that question, how was it? Then you will never know to fix it.
All of these subjects that we've been hitting on the past few weeks, I feel like we could have 3-hour, 4-hour conversations and just keep going. I do want to wrap this up with a final question, and I'm curious for each of you. If we could give a manager watching this this broadcast, whether they're watching it right now or they'll watch it later in a recorded manner, if we could advise them to create just one piece of sales enablement for their sales team, what would it be? What would you recommend? And what do you think? Who wants to go first?
It's hard. It's a hard question.
I think I would recommend making a really easy place to find everything. And then I would go from there. So you can continue to add case studies and make case studies and add blog posts. But I would have either your website or a shared drive or a sales resource center or somewhere where it can at least be stored and found. Because I think that's really the first step. Although I think everything's important, and that's probably not the only, I don't recommend that be the only thing you would do.
Right. In the old days, there was a wall in I mean, that there was literally a wall with all of your pieces on it, and you'd go and grab it.
Grab the one sheet. Yep.
Right. You need to. What you're suggesting is bring that wall into the 21st century and organize
Make it accessible on your phone, on your laptop, make it easy for sales to find, have, like Isha was saying, tags, make it just easy to locate information, whether that is your actual website, or if you don't have your website up to date with capabilities like a resource center and a blog, I would say find another solution, build a website page or a shared drive or something.
It's one of those things that's much easier said than done, right? Yep. We all like cleaning your closet, right? It's easy to say, it's just hard to do. Isha, Dani, what do you got? What you got?
I think because I love video, this is something you can do today, okay? You can list all the common challenges that your prospect has, create a 2-minute video or 1-minute video addressing that problem, share it on LinkedIn and share it to your network. Everybody that you're following on LinkedIn should be your prospects probably. So if you're sharing that on LinkedIn and you're addressing their problem, that's something you can utilize right away. The sales teams can do that right away.
Yeah.
All right, Dani.
One piece of content resource or let's see. So since we are speaking to media folks, I think it starts with, and this is not an easy thing that you can do today, but it is an important thing that you could do in the next.
Simple, not easy.
Yes. Build a B2B website. Have a place for your prospects and your customers to know what you sell, where you're experts, see that you're a thought leader, see that you know and understand marketing strategy and tracking ROI and just, starting there, because that your website also, even a very simple one, can be a resource for your salespeople to share that. Media is one of the few industries that doesn't necessarily have that, doesn't have an online space to send their customers and their prospects. And it's a little crazy to me. And so it's kind of my mission in life is to get every media company a B2B website. So I think that's a good starting point. Even just having a couple pages that they can share with a prospect to learn more about their company would help them stand apart from competition.
Absolutely. All right. So I want to say thank you very much, Emily, Isha, Dani, for taking some of your time to jump on. Like I mentioned at the opener, all three are work at LeadG2, which is an inbound sales enablement agency helping salespeople to sell smarter and faster. And we put that banner up on the screen. So if you want to go check them out at leadg2.com, at LeadG2 or LinkedIn and the company page, please do that. We encourage you. But also, if you want to ask Emily or Isha or Dani any specific questions, if you want to follow up on any of the conversation that we're having, we'll put Shay is going to put up the banners for Dani, and that's her LinkedIn. Please connect with her there. Isha or Emily, her LinkedIn profile, please connect with her there. And Isha as well, connect with her on LinkedIn. And anything I know all three of them are happy to have this sales enablement conversation with anyone that wants to continue the conversation, because it is important. And whether or not you want to embrace it and accept it and start getting it is up to you. But if you don't and your competition does, you're going to be at a big disadvantage. Be the leader when it comes to this. It'll help you attract better people, and it'll help your sellers to sell smarter and faster and drive revenue performance. I'm really excited about next week. So many people have asked, and we did address it in the media sales report. The piece on culture is really important, especially as so many of us have moved from a office environment to a work from home or work from anywhere environment. How do you keep that culture alive? And as our guests next week, we will have Deb Foljam and Beth Sunshine and Jim Hopes. And we're going to talk about exactly how to do that and give you real examples of what we're doing and what we're seeing done that's really helping people to have more engagement and ultimately a better culture. So we'll see you next week or on the next episode, depending on how you're watching this. And have a good day. And definitely everyone is for more light and springing forward.
Definitely.
Have a great day. Oh,
bye, guys.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please subscribe to our
Subscribe.
Like, subscribe, share. Like, subscribe, share. Please. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks for having us, Matt.
Bye. Thank you.
I've been told that the fire's old, and when stars are